For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
On a late summer afternoon in 2011, grad students Lee Porter and Marco Reyes embarked on a photo trip to the Redwood National and State Parks. They never returned. Despite an extensive search effort that battled severe coastal fog, Lee and Marco vanished without a trace from the Klamath River overlook. For 9 long years, their families lived with agonizing uncertainty, hoping for answers in the vast, silent forest. Then, in 2020, a disturbing discovery was made. A weathered car key fob, wedged deep within a redwood burrow. This is the complete investigation into what happened to Lee Porter and Marco Reyes, and the dark secret they unknowingly stumbled upon. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy this content, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now let's continue. The ancient sentinels of Redwood National and State Parks stand as silent witnesses, their colossal forms reaching skyward, a testament to enduring time and untamed wilderness. This vast expanse of primeval forest, where sunlight struggles to pierce the dense canopy, offers a profound sense of peace, yet harbors an inherent, subtle isolation. It is a place of breathtaking beauty, where the air hangs heavy with the scent of damp earth and redwood, a sanctuary that can, in an instant, transform into an impenetrable labyrinth. Into this majestic setting ventured Lee Porter and Marco Reyes, 2 graduate students brimming with the vibrant energy of youth and intellectual curiosity. Their shared passion for photography drew them to the monumental landscapes, their cameras poised to capture the ethereal light and overwhelming scale of nature's giants. Lee, with her keen eye for detail, and Marco, with his adventurous spirit, had meticulously planned their weekend photo trip, eager to immerse themselves in the quiet grandeur of the redwood groves. Their destination was the renowned Klamath River overlook, a vantage point celebrated for its panoramic vistas, where the river met the vast expanse of the Pacific. They arrived on a clear, crisp Saturday morning, the air still and cool, promising perfect conditions for their artistic pursuits. The initial hours were spent in tranquil exploration, their laughter echoing softly through the towering trees as they framed shot after shot. But as the afternoon waned, a dramatic shift occurred. Without warning, a severe coastal fog, dense and relentless, began to roll inland from the Pacific. It advanced rapidly, an ethereal wave swallowing the landscape whole, reducing visibility to mere feet within moments. The familiar contours of the forest dissolved into a featureless gray void, disorienting anyone caught within its sudden embrace. One moment, Lee and Marco were capturing the fleeting light. The next, they were enveloped in an opaque shroud. Their last known actions remain obscured by this sudden meteorological event. They simply vanished. No distress calls were made, no evidence of a struggle was found, and their vehicle, later discovered at the overlook, offered no clues to their immediate fate. Only an empty space remained where 2 lives had been, leaving behind the chilling question of where they had gone. As Sunday passed without contact, a growing unease settled upon their families and friends. By Monday morning, when Lee and Marco failed to return to their university and missed scheduled commitments, the alarm was raised. Authorities were notified, initiating the desperate search for the young couple who had disappeared without a trace into the immense, unforgiving wilderness of Redwood National and State Parks. The alarm concerning Lee Porter and Marco Reyes' disappearance triggered an immediate, urgent response. Park rangers, local law enforcement, and eventually, trained search and rescue volunteers converged on Redwood National and State Parks. Their primary focus centered on the Klamath River overlook, where the couple's vehicle had been found, and the surrounding dense redwood forests. Teams were deployed on foot, utilizing grid search patterns, while helicopters, when weather permitted, conducted aerial surveys, their powerful spotlights piercing the lingering mist in a desperate attempt to locate any sign of the missing students. However, the sheer scale of the park encompassing over 130,000 acres of rugged, often impenetrable terrain, presented an immediate and formidable challenge. The redwood groves, with their towering, ancient trees and thick undergrowth, created a labyrinthine environment where visibility, even without fog, was severely limited. The initial severe coastal fog, which had enveloped the area at the time of their vanishing, would have obliterated any immediate tracks or subtle signs, making the critical first hours of the search profoundly difficult. Ravines, steep inclines, and the pervasive dampness further hampered efforts, turning every step into a painstaking process. Despite the exhaustive and relentless search, investigators were met with a baffling absence of definitive clues. There were no signs of a struggle near the vehicle, no discarded personal belongings along the trails, and no discernible footprints beyond those of the search teams themselves. The couple's camera equipment, presumably carried with them, was also gone. Every potential lead proved to be a dead end, leaving investigators with nothing concrete to follow. The vehicle, meticulously processed for any forensic evidence, yielded no insights into their sudden vanishing. As days bled into weeks, the initial urgency slowly gave way to a profound sense of frustration and confusion. The vastness of the search area, coupled with the complete lack of any tangible evidence, solidified the case as a puzzling enigma. The dedicated teams continued their efforts, but the hope of a swift resolution dwindled with each passing day, casting a long, unsettling shadow over the magnificent, yet now ominous, Redwood Forest. Lee Porter and Marco Reyes had simply vanished, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a deepening mystery. The relentless search for Lee Porter and Marco Reyes eventually scaled back. Weeks of exhaustive effort yielded no trace, and the initial wave of volunteers and media attention slowly receded. Hope, once a vibrant flame, flickered and diminished with each passing month. The calendar pages turned, marking the passage of not just days, but seasons, then years. 1 year became 2, then 5, and still, the vast redwood forest held its secrets, offering no sign of the young couple who had disappeared into its depths. The enduring lack of answers became a heavy burden, a testament to the perplexing nature of their vanishing. For the families of Lee and Marco, the passage of time brought no solace, only the deepening agony of uncertainty. Every anniversary of their disappearance was a fresh wound, a stark reminder of the lives cut short and the dreams unfulfilled. The questions that had plagued investigators from the outset remained stubbornly unanswered. Had they succumbed to the elements? Had they met with an accident? Or had something more sinister occurred in the seemingly tranquil park? Without a body, without a single piece of definitive evidence, closure remained an elusive, cruel mirage. The silence from the forest was deafening, a constant echo of the unknown. Despite the diminishing leads, the case was never entirely forgotten. Periodically, detectives would pull the thick files from the archives, reviewing old reports, re-examining photographs, and hoping that a fresh pair of eyes or new forensic techniques might unlock a forgotten detail. Yet each review concluded with the same disheartening outcome. Eventually, the active investigation transitioned into the cold case files, a designation that, while not signifying abandonment, acknowledged the current inability to progress. It was a disheartening reality for the dedicated officers, and most profoundly, for the families who continued to live in limbo. A lingering shadow settled over Redwood National and State Parks, a subtle yet pervasive reminder of the 2 bright young lives that had vanished without a trace. Their story became a local legend, whispered warnings to visitors about the park's deceptive beauty and its capacity to conceal. For nearly a decade, Lee Porter and Marco Reyes remained an enigma, their fate intertwined with the ancient trees, their story seemingly destined to remain one of the park's most enduring and tragic unsolved mysteries. 9 years had passed since the vanishing of Lee Porter and Marco Reyes. Nearly a decade had folded into the annals of the Redwood National and State Parks, their story relegated to the quiet files of cold cases, a tragic footnote in the park's history. The towering redwoods had continued their slow, majestic growth, shedding bark and needles, oblivious to the human drama that had unfolded beneath their ancient boughs. The world had moved on, but the mystery of the young couple's fate remained a raw, open wound for their families. It was into this backdrop of time and persistent enigma that Ranger Elena Prout entered the scene. A seasonal park ranger, Elena possessed a deep reverence for the ancient forest and an equally profound dedication to her duties. Her patrols were not merely routine. They were an intimate communion with the land, a meticulous observation of its delicate balance. On a crisp autumn morning, as she conducted a survey of a less frequented section of the park, her eyes, trained to notice the smallest deviation, caught something unusual. Deeply wedged within the intricate convolutions of a massive redwood burl, a gnarled outgrowth on the side of a living tree, sat a small, dark object. It was partially obscured by moss and lichen, its surface dulled by years of exposure to the elements. Elena cautiously approached, her experienced hand brushing aside the organic growth. What she uncovered sent a jolt through her. It was a car key fob, its plastic casing faded and weathered, but undeniably man-made. The design was dated, but distinct enough to suggest an older model vehicle. Her mind, a repository of park history and incidents, immediately leaped to the forefront of her memory. The key fob, an isolated artifact in the heart of the wilderness, spoke volumes. The high-profile disappearance of Lee Porter and Marco Reyes, though almost a decade old, was a story every ranger knew. Their vehicle had been found, but its keys, like the couple themselves, had never materialized. This small, unassuming object, found in such an unlikely place, bore an undeniable, chilling resemblance to the type of key that might have belonged to their abandoned car. The discovery was more than just a piece of plastic. It was a tangible link, a whisper from the past. It reignited a spark of hope in a case long considered lost to time and the vastness of the redwoods. Elena Prout's find transformed a cold case into a new, urgent investigation, breathing life back into a mystery that had haunted the park and its community for far too long. The key fob, weathered and forgotten, now held the potential to unlock the secrets of what truly happened 9 years ago. The discovery of the weathered car key fob immediately shifted the 9-year-old cold case into an active investigation once more. The small plastic object, carefully extricated from the redwood burl, was swiftly transported to a state-of-the-art forensic laboratory. Investigators harbored cautious optimism that despite its prolonged exposure to the elements, the fob might still yield crucial microscopic evidence. Forensic technicians meticulously examined its surface for any trace of DNA, latent fingerprints, or minute fibers that could link it to Lee Porter, Marco Reyes, or any unknown individuals. Every crevice, every faded mark, was scrutinized under powerful microscopes, a painstaking effort to extract any remaining secrets it held. While clear DNA or identifiable fingerprints proved elusive, largely due to years of weathering, the forensic examination did uncover a pivotal detail. Embedded within the faded plastic casing were unique and distinctive micro-scratches. These were not random abrasions. Their pattern suggested a specific type of contact, a consistent, almost deliberate scoring. The origin of these marks remained a mystery in the initial stages of the analysis, but their unusual regularity and depth were meticulously documented and photographed, recognized as a potentially vital characteristic. Simultaneously, the vast Redwood National and State Parks became the focus of renewed search efforts. No longer a generalized sweep, this new operation was highly concentrated around the specific Redwood burl, where Ranger Elena Prout had made her startling find. Specialized search teams, equipped with ground-penetrating radar and K-9 units trained for human remains detection, systematically combed the immediate vicinity. They meticulously excavated soil, cleared undergrowth, and scoured every square foot of the forest floor, hoping to uncover any further evidence, personal belongings, or even human remains that might have been missed during the initial, less focused investigations, or perhaps preserved over the intervening years. To further contextualize the discovery, park archaeologist Dev Patel was brought into the investigation. His expertise was invaluable for analyzing the precise placement of the key fob within the ancient burrow and interpreting any subtle ecological or historical disturbances in the surrounding environment. Patel examined the growth patterns of the burrow itself, seeking clues about how the key might have become so deeply embedded. He also looked for signs of past human activity, such as discarded tools, unnatural ground disturbance, or alterations to the vegetation that could indicate a struggle or a deliberate concealment. The hope was that Patel's understanding of the forest's silent history could provide a deeper insight into the key's origin, and by extension, the fate of Lee and Marco. Ranger Elena Prout, a dedicated observer of the park's intricate patterns, found herself reviewing the forensic reports on the key fob with a growing sense of unease. The images of the distinctive micro-scratches, meticulously documented by the lab, resonated with a nagging familiarity. Her deep knowledge of park incidents, a tapestry woven from years of patrols and reports, began to coalesce around a specific, disturbing thread. Over recent months, the park had suffered a series of thefts targeting historical bronze plaques, often taken from remote, less traveled areas. Each site, meticulously investigated, had revealed similar minute scoring marks on the remaining fasteners or adjacent wood. Elena cross-referenced the key fob scratches with photographs from these theft sites. The match was undeniable, chillingly precise. This crucial connection propelled Elena to a shocking realization. The unique abrasions were not random. They were a signature. These specific marks were indicative of the brute force tools and methods employed by individuals engaged in illicit burrow poaching. The theft of bronze plaques, it now became clear, was likely a secondary, opportunistic crime committed by the same individuals who harvested the valuable redwood burls, often using saws and pry tools that would leave such distinctive scoring. Lee and Marco's disappearance, therefore, was not a random accident or a tragic misadventure into the wilderness. It now pointed to a fatal encounter with these criminals, an accidental stumbling upon active burrow poaching routes hidden deep within the park. To validate her theory, Elena sought out Old Joe, a reclusive local figure known for his encyclopedic, if illicit, knowledge of the park's underbelly. Old Joe, a man whose life was intertwined with the ancient trees, had long been an informal, often reluctant, teepster regarding illegal activities. When presented with the evidence of the scratches and Elena's hypothesis, Old Joe's weathered face creased with grim recognition. He spoke of specific routes, traditional poaching grounds, and the ruthless nature of those who plundered the redwoods for profit. His confirmation provided a crucial, horrifying validation, painting a vivid picture of the dangers Lee and Marco had likely stumbled into. The baffling disappearance that had haunted the park for nearly a decade underwent a complete paradigm shift. The cold case, once mired in ambiguity, now had a chillingly clear narrative. Lee Porter and Marco Reyes had not simply vanished. They had, in all probability, witnessed an illegal operation, sealing their tragic fate. This new understanding provided a stark and terrifying motive for their vanishing, transforming their story from one of mystery into a grim tale of fatal confrontation with a hidden criminal enterprise. The key fob, a small piece of plastic, had finally unlocked the dark secret of the redwoods. With the chilling truth finally unearthed, investigators could meticulously piece together the probable tragedy that befell Lee Porter and Marco Reyes. It was surmised that the graduate students, in their pursuit of unique photographic opportunities, had likely ventured slightly off the main trails, inadvertently stumbling upon an active burrow poaching operation. The poachers, ruthless in their determination to protect their lucrative and illegal enterprise, would have viewed the couple not as innocent bystanders, but as immediate threats, witnesses who needed to be silenced. A confrontation, likely swift and brutal, ensued, during which Marco's key fob was dislodged, perhaps during a struggle or a hurried attempt to dispose of evidence, becoming lodged in the very burrow that would one day reveal their fate. Their bodies, it was now tragically clear, had been concealed so effectively within the vast, dense forest, or perhaps disposed of in the Klamath River, explaining their complete and baffling absence for nearly a decade. The breakthrough spurred an intensive, focused investigation into the poaching ring. Ranger Elena Pruitt's pivotal connection between the key fob's micro-scratches and the plaque thefts, coupled with Old Joe's invaluable insights into the illicit routes and methods, provided law enforcement with the necessary intelligence. A multi-agency task force was assembled, utilizing surveillance and undercover operations to infiltrate the network. The subsequent arrests brought to justice not only those directly responsible for the deaths of Lee and Marco, but also the wider criminal enterprise that had been plundering the ancient Redwoods. The legal proceedings that followed, fueled by the compelling forensic evidence and witness testimony, led to convictions, finally holding the perpetrators accountable for both the murders and the environmental devastation they had wrought. For the families of Lee Porter and Marco Reyes, the truth, while devastating, offered a painful but profound sense of closure. After 9 years of agonizing uncertainty, of living in a perpetual state of limbo, they finally had answers. The mystery that had consumed their lives was dispelled, allowing them to begin the long, arduous process of grieving with understanding. The young couple, whose lives had been so cruelly cut short, could now be remembered not just as missing persons, but as victims whose story had at last been told. The tragic case left an indelible mark on Redwood National and State Parks. It served as a stark, sobering reminder of the hidden dangers that could lurk even within the most pristine natural landscapes. In response, the park implemented enhanced protective measures, including increased ranger patrols in vulnerable areas, advanced surveillance technologies to monitor against illegal activities, and public awareness campaigns designed to educate visitors about the importance of staying on marked trails and reporting suspicious behavior. There was a renewed, unwavering commitment to safeguarding both the park's invaluable ancient resources and the safety of its millions of visitors. The enduring story of Lee Porter and Marco Reyes became more than just a cold case solved. It transformed into a poignant narrative. It stood as a testament to the unforeseen perils that can lie beneath the surface of beauty, and simultaneously, a powerful testament to the unwavering dedication of individuals like Ranger Elena Pruitt. Her keen observation and relentless pursuit of truth, against all odds and the vastness of time, ultimately ensured that justice, though delayed, was not denied, and that the voices of the vanished were finally heard.